Hi guys, this is Nadya and Jeeva, the founder of spinachandyoga.com, and we're doing a series of Happy Belly interviews to celebrate the launch of my book, Happy Belly Guide for Women Who Want to Feel Vibrant, Light, and Balanced. And I'm bringing you various experts on digestion, cooking, yoga, fitness, and generally how to live well in the body. And today I have one of my friends, an amazing woman who did a guest post for Spinach and Yoga and shared some Ayurvedic recipes. And today we get to pick her mind about what makes her belly happy. Akshata is an Ayurvedic chef. She lives online at jeevalifestyle.com, and she blogs about Ayurvedic cooking, predominantly vegan and sometimes raw. And Akshata has an amazing philosophy. So Akshata, before we jump into sharing about digestion and cooking and Ayurveda, I wanted you to share a little bit about your philosophy.
Hi, Nadya, and hello to all your listeners. I know you have a good audience, so thank you so much for having me. Yes, I would love to share with you my Jeeva philosophy. In fact, I was a little reluctant to write it on my website because I think it is kind of swimming against the stream, so to speak. Because when I moved from India to US, when I started reading newspapers or any magazines, be it even health magazines or online journals or whatever I picked, I thought everything was fear-provoking, especially coming from India. The media, the news, the local news, I used to get scared to death listening to the news. It's like, are these cities so dangerous to live in? I mean, coming from India, I felt this is a developed country. So it was very fear-provoking, and I tried to avoid it. I stopped watching TV. Today, I really don't watch any episodes or no news.
Me neither.
Good. So as much as possible, I limit to bring those fear-inducing thoughts in my environment. And when I thought of starting Jeeva Lifestyle, that was my main philosophy is I'm going to be different. Because what I truly believe is whenever you want to bring a real change in life, it has to be through a conscious mind and not through a fearful mind. And I strongly believe if you start making changes in your life with a fear set in your mind, it's going to be temporary. It's going to be short-lived. If you really want to make a change, you want to make a lifestyle out of it, it has to be a conscious decision and coming from your inner self, from your inner being. So that's what my main philosophy is, because wherever you go, if I ask my friends, why do you want to be healthy? I really was asking these questions to people because I had a different answer and I thought I was the only weird one out there.
Yeah.
So people said, hey, I want to be healthy so that I don't fall sick. I don't get handicapped in my older years where people have to take care of me. You know, it was more fear-provoking. Like, I don't have to. If you want to go to a gym, they said, like, I want to go to gym because I want to impress my loved ones with the right figure and whatnot. So they were all, I felt, a superficial. I mean, they are all good reasons, don't get me wrong, but I think they don't make a permanent, lasting impact. So when you ask me why I want to be healthy, my answer is a little different. I think because I'm influenced by Ayurveda, I'm not sure, because the goal of Ayurveda is not about healing our body from disease or discomfort. It is one of the goals, but the main purpose of Ayurveda is a lofty one. The purpose is to lead us back to our perfect state of being, our true self, that is the capital S. And that's what we are, and that's our Jeeva, and that's how I've named my website. So for me, to be healthy I want to be healthy because one day I need to know myself, my inner true calling. What is my true self? How is it? I know it's a perfect being, but right now I'm not perfect. So that is my real passion or the driving force to be healthy is one day I can connect to my inner self and commune with it. So I wanted people to understand that, and I want to empower, encourage, and motivate people with my recipes and insightful articles on Jeeva lifestyle. So, Nadia, thank you so much for picking that up. Because on Jeeva lifestyle, you will never find anything fear provoking. I
Yeah.
promise that. So that's how it came about. Is like, for me, it should be a conscious decision and
Yeah.
not a fear based.
Yeah, and I love that you're combining your journey to feeling healthy to moving to that state where you feel not necessarily enlightened, but where you feel empowered and inspired.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of taking people along with you.
Yes.
And that's really inspiring because I actually do agree with you that a lot of us move in our diet and lifestyle choices based out of fear. So
Mm-hmm.
gluten is really bad, so I'm so scared of it, so let me not touch it, and instead I'll eat something else instead of what is the best thing that will nourish me at this current moment. And in
Mm-hmm.
some moments, it might be something with gluten. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think wheat berries, when you don't eat wheat berries on its own, not a cheese sandwich with meat, then it's a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about digestion and a happy belly, because in Ayurveda, digestion is such a crucial part of our well-being and our health.
Mm-hmm.
What does a happy belly mean for you?
Okay. Happy belly translates to happy life for me. If you ask me in 2 words, it's happy life. Um, Everything, it's so vital, as you said, Nadia, to Ayurveda. It's the core foundation of Ayurveda is dependent on digestion. So for me, happy belly is um, when my appetite is wholesome, my digestion is strong, my excretion or elimination is regular, and my state of mind is calm and centered in tune with spirit. I think that's my definition of happy belly.
I love that it covers all aspects of it. So, was your belly always happy?
Um, well, I am a pitta dominant person,
A lucky
so
one.
lucky one. So I took granted, I think, my strong digestive agni or fire. So I pretty much could eat any kind of junk food and get away with it. But lately, I have been noticing it's even though my tongue is happy eating all the junk food, my heavy, greasy, rich foods were my favorite once upon a time. It's been a while, I've changed my lifestyle. Um, but my belly was not always happy eating those foods. So I started listening to my body, listening to what it's trying to say, and slowly and steadily started making changes. So even though you're a pitta dominant person, I mean, anyone out there, we kind of, we don't have the same problems like people have when they have kapha dominant or
Yeah.
vata. We don't have indigestion problems. We don't have a whole lot of bloating, issues. So we kind of take it for granted. But I think anything done over is always going to come in one way or the other for
Yeah.
you to change and make the right choices. So,
Yeah, and it's beautiful that you highlight, and it's, I think, for guys, if you're watching and you're new to Ayurveda, in Ayurveda there are several different doshas, and people can be predominant in one or the other, and that's going to determine the strength of your digestion. So Akshata is a pitta dominant, which means she has a strong digestive fire, and that helps her to digest food well. If somebody has vata or kapha dominant dosha, then they will have a little bit more inclination to react to food in a slightly more sensitive way. So if you notice that since you were a kid, you're reacting to foods a little bit more, you might explore a little bit more into Ayurveda and see which constitution your body is. So yeah, thanks Akshata for bringing this up. Um, let's uh, let's talk a little bit about the changes that you made
mhm,
and about the specific foods. So you mentioned that you used to like heavy, greasy, kind of fast food,
right,
and now you're writing about vegan, lots of raw foods,
right,
lots of
right.
light recipes.
Yes.
So I guess how do you notice the difference in your body,
Mhm.
and why was the choice why did you move the way that you did?
Okay. Um, like I call myself Akshita 1.0 and Akshita 2.0. So
Okay.
Akshita 1.0 was all because I come from an information technology background. So I use my computer
Yeah,
version.
I
So
like that.
so I had a later version and a recent version, downgraded the latest software onto my
Okay.
system. So Akshita 1.0, as I said, was really into heavy foods, and I was a chocoholic growing up. I loved eating chocolates. If you look at my skin, even today, I still have blemish marks on my face, but this is far much clearer and vibrant than I used to look before. Um, it was a hard time for me to get away from chocolates. I could get away from heavy foods like greasy foods. I mean, I had a control over it,
Mhm.
but my dad just pampered me with chocolates while growing up. And then at certain point in early 20s, I think the chocolate started eating me and not the other way around.
That's so beautiful. Tell us a little bit more. What Tell us first from the Ayurvedic perspective. What does chocolate do?
Mhm.
And yeah, let's talk about that first.
Okay. For me, again, being high pitta, eating a lot of chocolates was very heating for my
Yeah.
body. And even when I had a lot of problems, I had a lot of painful boils. They used to turn into pus, and there were blisters. And I was very hot-tempered. I
Mm-hmm.
just needed a reason to blast. Uh, so even I don't know for what exact reason my dad had taken me to a doctor, but they said they used to ask, is she smoking or does she have too much caffeine? Because
Mm-hmm.
my blood showed a lot of I don't know what they felt that it was more caffeine or more
Yeah.
like she smokes, and my even teeth had a little bit of a gray shade to it. And I think chocolate is caffeine if you look back now.
Well,
So
it's a stimulant.
stimulant, yeah, yeah. And so it was really not, I enjoyed eating it. I know my tongue liked it, but I think my body had started showing many signs for me to
Yeah.
stop it. But I didn't know how to stop it. It was like if I saw chocolate, I just attacked it.
How
That's
did you
the word.
stop?
So once I got my Vitamix, I got a book with it called Beauty Detox from
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly Snyder. You might know her.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing in disguise to get a Vitamix. And I didn't know about her. She's a celebrity nutritionist. And I started reading her book because she and I share the same guru. I follow Paramahansa Yogananda's
Mm-hmm.
teachings, and she does the same. And that really inspired me to read her book page to page, what she says about Ayurveda and other discoveries she did. She emphasized drinking green smoothies. And I wasn't very much on raw. Being Ayurveda, I ate like raw during spring and
Yeah.
summer, but not during winter and all. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I started drinking green smoothies. And my body just embraced it. I didn't feel anything bitter, the
Yeah.
pungency. I just started loving it. It was just waiting for it, I thought. I started having dandelion greens, celery, parsley, and I just had fruit as an orange. It wasn't very sugary. I
Mm-hmm.
kept it
So,
green.
Akshara, I think a lot of people, when you talk about smoothies,
Hmm.
they almost think of something compared to a milkshake.
Hmm.
And they'll add, basically, if you get a smoothie, it can have avocado and almond milk and
Hmm.
like protein powder and then fruit on top of it. Were you drinking those kind of smoothies or a different kind of
No,
smoothies?
this was a healthier version
Okay,
that
so
my
tell us
body.
what would go into an Ayurvedic smoothie.
Yeah. So what I did is like I put celery in it. I put dandelion greens became my favorite, and even today I love them in my green
Mm-hmm.
smoothies. I put parsley. I used to put a little bit of ginger in it, maybe carrots, but for a sweetener, I just used orange. In the beginning, I would put a date, maybe one date into it, just to make it palatable. But I kept it mainly green because that's what she emphasized. The greens would detox your body
Yeah.
quickly. And I started having it religiously every day, twice, like morning and evening. And I started noticing, even though I ate a healthy diet except for my chocolates,
Yeah.
my bowel movements were much, much better. more regular, and my skin started looking clearer, and I started losing weight. But I didn't do it for chocolates. I just said, okay, I needed a detoxification. This is feeling good. She didn't emphasize a whole lot of that you would leave chocolate cravings in the book. She just said that it will bring healthy cravings in your system. And I thought maybe somehow if this will stop me eating chocolates, it will be a blessing. So I think I followed this religiously for 6 months. And today I can tell you, Nadia, with confidently that I don't crave chocolates. It's not a suppression. I want to make it very clear. Like my husband had a Lindt chocolate yesterday, and I didn't even feel like having it. It was not like, oh, it's not good for me, I'm suppressing it.
Yeah.
I just don't get that craving anymore. And for everybody, I've told it to so many people, start green smoothies and you will not. I think it's just not for chocolate. If you have sugar cravings, which are out of normal,
Yeah.
go for green smoothies. It will naturally regulate your body and make it balanced. I think there was an imbalance in my system and I was craving chocolates. I thought maybe it's magnesium deficiency or
Yeah.
zinc, whatever, but it fixed it. And I can say I'm no longer a chocoholic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for example, for me, I find that green soups work better because I like savory more than sweet. So for breakfast, I like to have a green soup, which can have kind of the same thing, like dandelion, celery, sometimes a cucumber, and then I'll add either a boiled or steamed zucchini or broccoli. And I can add ginger and turmeric and coriander, sometimes like some sea salt, and that can be my breakfast. So I think you
Wow.
guys, you can
Yep.
go both ways. If you want, you can add a piece of fruit, or if you want, you can just make it really savory, and both of them taste amazing.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk about some foods. So you mentioned that chocolate is not something that makes your body particularly happy. What were some other foods that now you can notice that don't particularly agree with your stomach?
Yeah, you had mentioned gluten earlier, and I noticed that in my diet too. Is like I have cut back on gluten a lot lately. Typically, I won't have any gluten for 5 days in a week. So my rule of thumb is like eat healthy for 5 days and have no restrictions on weekends. So I might have some bread which is gluten, like made with wheat
Yeah.
or a chapati, like an Indian bread. But try to stay away from gluten during the week has really helped me. My belly feels very happy cutting back gluten, for
Good.
sure. Because one thing I have observed in myself is anything that you've eaten too much while growing up, I think once you reach a certain point in your life, the body starts telling you to cut it down, even if it's a good thing. For me, it was wheat because growing up in India, I had a lot of wheat chapatis. The
Yeah.
chapatis are the Indian
Yeah.
flat bread. And my mother used to do with stone ground wheat, but I had a lot of wheat. And somehow intuitively, my body was telling me cut back on wheat, not necessarily gluten. But then I started cutting back on all the gluten flours, and I make chapatis now with like brown rice and quinoa, or I can make chapatis with rolled oats, sorghum grains, and flax seeds. It's amazingly tasty. So it's brought a really positive benefit to me. So I would encourage people to notice if you've eaten any kind of food. For my husband, he's eaten apples all his life, too
Yeah.
much apples while growing up, and now he can't digest apples. So
Interesting.
yeah, so just cut it back for like maybe 6 months or so, and you
Yeah.
can gradually bring it back again. But observe if you've eaten something too much out of moderation, then it's time to take a
Yeah.
break out and then bring it back again.
And I think it's more reminding people that it's good to have a variety of different things
Yes.
versus choose one thing and just kind of eat only that particular thing. I had the same thing with ginger. So when I just started learning Ayurveda, and everywhere it said ginger tea and have a ginger appetizer with some salt and lime, I ate so much ginger that about in a year, my body started reacting to it. So I had too much fire, and I just couldn't stand ginger in any way. And then in about 6 months, I started craving it again. So you're right. I think if you have something too much, it's good to include the variety of other things and
Yes.
kind of let your body recalibrate.
Right, right. That's the right word.
Yeah,
But
let's.
another thing I wanted to mention,
Yeah.
Nadia, is frozen foods. It's definitely, definitely not good for my belly. I don't know why, but I just fall sick to my stomach when I have frozen foods. And that's why if you see my freezer, if I show it to you, you won't find anything there except a bag of frozen peas.
Yeah.
So, and in a way, I thank my body that it doesn't go well with frozen foods, because if you refer Ayurveda again, frozen food has no prana. There's no life energy in frozen foods. So it's basically tamasic. So that's one thing, is like, especially it's a tough one for the Western culture, but try not to or limit eating frozen
Yeah.
foods, you know?
And I think it's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Ayurvedic cooking. So you have a lot of experience experimenting with it and teaching people how to do it. If somebody is just starting out, for example, what spices would you recommend them to definitely buy? And how would you recommend to just slowly start making their cooking Ayurvedic?
Oh, good question, Nadia. For the beginners, what I would recommend is cumin and coriander.
Love
I think,
coriander.
yes. I think cumin is pretty popular in Western culture, because when I do my cooking courses, people generally, 9 out of 10 people know what cumin is. Even if they haven't tasted it, they have heard about it. But coriander is a little new, because they know cilantro, but
Yeah.
they don't know the cilantro seeds. It's the coriander seeds. They haven't seen them. But the combination of cumin and coriander is like marriage made in heaven, in my opinion. It goes so well. Like 2 parts to cumin to 1 parts of coriander for any curry, any soup. I think it's very versatile. It blends perfectly well in any savory dishes. So I would say get it. Like Whole Foods carries coriander seeds,
Yeah.
cumin seeds, Sprouts carries seed. You can buy it in a powder form, or you can powder it at your own home and use it like in root vegetables like sauteed beets or baked squashes. And to keep your belly happy, I would also say ginger and turmeric for the beginners. That would be really awesome. A ginger turmeric tea is very good for your belly, and it's very easy to make. Just you know it, I
Yeah.
think, Nadia. It's just take a cup of boiling water, grate some fresh ginger and put like 1 full teaspoon of turmeric and keep it for like 20 minutes, and you can drink it as it is, or you can strain it and drink.
Yeah.
So they are all acquired tasters, but I would strongly suggest start slow, because these are all
True.
strong spices, and your body might react to it in a not necessarily in a positive way to get rid of toxins. So start slow, but experiment. It's really fun. I mean, you will start enjoying it, just smelling the spices, touching it, that creates an intimate relationship with the food. And I would strongly encourage.
Great. Love it. So, if people want to learn more about some of your Ayurvedic recipes, where can they find you? What's the website?
Yeah, it's jeevalifestyle.com. And Jeeva is spelled as Jeeva, lifestyle. It's one word.com.
Perfect.
Our
And we'll
name.
put a link right below the video.
Oh, thanks, Nadia.
Beautiful. So, guys, make sure to download your 2 free chapters from the Happy Belly Guide. It's also going to be right below the video. And check out Akshara's website because it's full of amazing recipes. I was recently drooling over her sesame ladoos because they
Ooh.
look so good.
Oh, thank you.
So definitely start implementing some of the recipes. Akshata has some simple recipes as well, and there are some recipes in the Happy Belly book, so make sure to get that one as well, and watch all other amazing interviews from the Happy Belly series. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Nadia.